how to start a self-healing journey. I've always believed that we have the power to heal ourselves. But how do we start that journey to self-healing when everything around us tells us we're unwell or we're not qualified? That's what we're going to explore today. Welcome, I'm Kim Marie, and this channel is all about supporting women to step into their most empowered self so they can live their most fulfilling life. And what better way to live fulfilled than feeling that we are healed, that we are even empowered enough to heal ourselves. We need to understand what self-healing is before we start a self-healing journey. So we're going to define what self-healing is, learn the most important key to self-healing, determine what needs self-healing, and also explore tools and practices for that journey to self-healing. So in order to understand what self-healing is, we kind of have to define self-healing. We're not obviously talking about healing ourselves from a broken leg and thinking that we can do that on our own without some support. There are lots of reasons we likely need certain professionals to help us with that healing. However, there's a tremendous amount of self-healing that can happen based on what happens after in a situation like that. For example, maybe what we eat, what we take into our body, how we treat our body, the amount of movement we do or don't have. All of those things can contribute to our healing journey of healing from that broken leg. So there is a tremendous amount of empowerment around the healing journey that rests in our hands. Whether we go to physical therapy, whether we do the proper exercises we need to do to bring strength and wellness into our body. These are all aspects of that journey, and that's more what I'm talking about in the self-healing process is what can we do. I'm also looking at healing as a holistic approach. So we're not just trying to heal that broken leg, we're also trying to heal any of the emotions associated with maybe the trauma or the accident that happened, the thoughts we have around how it happened, what we did. For instance, if we tripped and fell and that's how we broke our leg, we could spend a lot of time beating ourselves up about tripping and falling and saying, oh, how stupid and clumsy you are, or whatever. Or we can learn to heal around our thinking and our emotions toward the greatest good. Like, yep, something got in my way. I tripped and fell. This happens sometimes, but I'm going to focus on my healing and getting stronger so that maybe I have less chance of that ever happening again. It's so much about what we can do on a holistic level to bring healing into our life, mentally, physically, and emotionally, and even spiritually. Ultimately, self-healing is a journey of self-discovery and self-care in all domains of our life. When we feel well, ultimately healing is what brings wellness, right? When we feel well in all domains of our life, physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, we have this cohesive wholeness that we can experience, which of course brings us to a sense of tremendous empowerment in our day-to-day living. Now, I said I was going to share the most important key for self-healing. Well, that most important key is self-awareness. We need to be aware of what's going on in our thoughts, in our emotions, with our physical body, with our spiritual life, if we're to be able to heal it. If we don't understand some of the fragmentation that maybe has happened within our soul so that different parts of ourselves can't seem to integrate as a whole. We all have that experience, right? This tug of war, like my head says this thing and my heart says that thing, or part of me wants this and part of me wants that. If we don't have an awareness of what those parts are and how they're talking to us and maybe what the origin of their trauma or their pain is, we have a really hard time of bringing that self-healing. Now, one of the most powerful tools that I have ever seen for self-awareness is journaling or self-reflection of some kind. Now, self-reflection can happen in meditation as well. I personally really love journaling because I find journaling in itself to be a meditative act. But it's not just sitting and closing your eyes and just being really silent, which is wonderful, and I definitely promote and advocate for that. I like journaling because I can get quiet in myself and then allow myself to put my hand to paper, to process what's going on, to contemplate, to reflect on things, to ultimately, through the process, become more and more aware of myself, my emotions, my thoughts, and what's happening for me. And many people resist the idea of journaling, thinking, I don't have time for journaling, or I wouldn't know what to write. I have other videos I've done and will be doing on journaling, so be sure to stay tuned for that, because it's far simpler than we often make it out to be. And I have a very special Journaling as a Path to Come Home workbook. It's a guidebook that teaches you different methods of journaling, as well as giving you some wonderful journaling prompts to get you started, to get you going in these various techniques so that you can start to play with it and dabble in it and ultimately cultivate this self-awareness more readily for yourself. So in order to take this journey of self-healing, we need to identify the areas that need healing. So this is looking at those various aspects of our being, what's going on emotionally, mentally, physically, and spiritually. We can look at, is there some healing that needs to happen there? And the healing may be as simple as implementing some kind of self-care routine for ourselves, something that honors and nurtures our emotional space or calms our nervous system so we're not spinning our thinking in this hamster wheel constantly. These are the different kinds of things that we can begin to look at. We need to take a look at those areas of our being, but we also want to take a look at the areas of our life. What needs healing in our relationships? What needs healing in our vocational and career life? What might need healing in our friendships and community, or in our parenting and relationship with our children? What might need healing in our health and well-being, like physical health and wellness, our capacity to sleep, or our capacity to have energy at the end of every day and still feel good at the end of the day instead of like we have to crash at the end. And sometimes, kind of related to this whole concept of self-awareness, we have to do an honest self-assessment of what is and is not working in our life. And a lot of us are afraid of doing that because we know that if we get real with ourselves, if we really be honest about what's working and what's not working, most likely we're going to start to see that we have to make some changes. And change is never easy, but it is one of the most powerful tools for us to become stronger and more empowered as we step onto the path of our true self and who we're really meant to be. We might have to look at past wounds or traumas or unresolved issues that are going on in these various areas of our life in order to heal them and bring ourselves into that space of empowerment. So what are some self-healing tools and practices? Well, they are wide and varied, and there's no way I can cover all of them in this video. And of course, I'm not going to teach all of them, but I want to start a list going, and then maybe you can start to look at other different tools that you can look into. So there's the concept of meditation, which I've mentioned, and getting quiet and getting still and calming the nervous system. We can do that also in connecting with nature. Maybe you sit and meditate on a rock next to a stream, and that becomes a very self-healing process. Even the concept of grounding, as it's known, where you walk barefoot on the earth. It is scientifically proven that the electromagnetic field between ourselves and the earth is extremely powerful. And when we are fully connected to that field by walking barefoot on the earth, there is something that begins to happen. It's almost like Mother Earth can compost for us a lot of what we don't need, what we need to release. I love to lay upon the earth and fully just let her take what she needs to take. I find tremendous healing in doing that. There's yoga as another healing practice. It's a beautiful practice. It can be intense or it can be very restorative and meditative, but yoga is really, the whole concept behind yoga is to unite, and it's bringing us into a sense of wholeness, into a sense of connectedness, and that is a beautiful practice for self-healing. There's a lot of empowerment that can come from that. Another piece could be therapy or coaching. Coaching is super powerful for helping us to step into the future of what we want and who we are or who we're meant to become. Holistic therapies are so powerful for self-healing. They often work in ways that allow our body to enact or activate its innate wisdom. So I personally love, for example, homeopathy. I think homeopathy is a really powerful tool, and in taking some of these remedies, and I'm not going to get into all of homeopathy, but the idea is that like heals like. So you take remedies that kind of activate aspects that are similar for you that will heal what it is in you that needs healing. And it works with your own body's innate wisdom. And there are lots of holistic therapies out there, homeopathy, functional medicine, medicine, naturopathy, and also energy medicine is a really powerful tool to work with. I was actually an energy healer before I became a coach, and so I really love to work with energy. I talk about energy. I'll probably do more videos about energy. It's hard for people to connect with because they don't fully understand it. Even homeopathy works energetically. We are all energy, and energy can't be created or destroyed, but it can be transformed and changed, and that is the healing process. And so working with energy can be extremely powerful to clear energetic blocks, to get the energy flowing through us the way that it needs to. This is a really powerful tool for self-healing. We can also work with creative expression. Artwork and creativity are incredibly healing. So many people that talk about painting or drawing or dancing or playing music talk about how it feeds and heals and nourishes their soul. That is so healing on the self-healing journey. We can also look at nourishment, what we feed ourselves. Food is medicine. I am a big advocate of what we put into our bodies as a powerful tool to how empowered we feel. I know myself from my own journey that my own sugar addiction and my longing for foods that weren't so nourishing or nurturing to me really put me in a horrible space, and I needed self-healing. And one of the most powerful ways I did that was through nourishment, what I put into my body, what I took in to digest. And I don't mean just food, I also mean our environmental ingestion. What are we taking in? Because if what we're taking in is not nourishing, it's not going to help us on the self-healing journey. If you're spending tons of time scrolling on screens, that is not going to help a sense of self-healing to feel more empowered. And of course, we can also look at moving our bodies. That's such a powerful tool, not only for the physical well-being, but for our mental and emotional well-being. And working on balance. What kind of balance do we have in our lives? And balance is going to look different to everyone. Some people, their sense of balance is working a lot more because they love their job, they love what they do, versus only working so much and having mostly family time. It's going to be different for everyone. It's about you finding your sense of balance, because when you find that, you feel a sense of well-being, and that is a way to bring self-healing. Ultimately, the best tool for you for self-healing is going to be what works for you and what you'll actually do. If you won't do it, if you won't practice these things, and none of them are a quick fix or a magic pill. Every one of these things requires work, it requires practice, it requires commitment, it requires consistency and maybe repetition. These are the kinds of things that are going to bring the ultimate self-healing. And so choose what will work for you and what resonates most with you, and experiment. It's okay to experiment, but give these things time. Don't think that you're going to go once and take a homeopathic remedy and everything's going to be better instantly. You might feel incredibly great instantly. It happens, but not always. A lot of times the true deepest self-healing takes time, takes commitment, takes practice. So I want to share how you can create a self-healing plan. Well, the first thing that you can do is take a look at the goals that you have for yourself. Is it about feeling more mentally clear? Is it about losing weight? Is it about feeling stronger within your body? Is it about sleeping better? What are the goals that you have for yourself that you want to heal around? It's really important to get clear on that and to set realistic goals for yourself and understand that we reach them in slow, steady steps, not overnight, not with some quick fix. So you want to break it down into manageable steps that you can and will do every day, ideally consistently. Another way of working a self-healing plan is to be able to honor the journey and the cycles of our process. And I have a special program that is called my Solace program. It takes you on a journey of remembering who you are, reconnecting to what really matters, re-envisioning new possibilities, and reinventing or rebirthing yourself into those new possibilities. If you are here and longing for self-healing, a lot of what I've talked about, like self-awareness and honoring the rhythms and how your life is unfolding and paying attention to these different tools and practices, if you're here wanting to go to that place of ultimately reinventing yourself to be in a more healed state, you will experience these stages. You will be going through a process of remembering who you are through that self-awareness, reconnecting to your values and sense of purpose, and re-envisioning envisioning new possibilities from that place of remembering and reconnecting, and then ultimately rebirthing yourself into that. If you were trying to heal from allergies, let's say, it could even be a physical ailment like allergies, there is a way in which that holistic approach of remembering who we are and reconnecting to our values can start to really look at how we're living, where we're living, what is it that we're doing that is or isn't aligned with our health and well-being. And then we can begin to envision, like, maybe the allergy is something like a certain type of pollen or grass that grows where you are. And you start to remember more of who you really are and what you really value. And you realize, I don't think this is where I really want to live. And so now you can start envisioning yourself living someplace else that might help alleviate those allergies. And now you can begin to rebirth yourself into that new vision and take action and take steps. Now, that's a very simplified case, but it is a process of self-healing. It doesn't have to come from a pill or some kind of medication or some kind of doctor. It can also come from your inner wisdom of really understanding what you need and where you need to go for your future to feel in that state of wellness. So check out the link in the description to my Solace program. I'd love to have you in the program. If you happen to be watching this video when it's not open for enrollment, be sure to join the wait list, and I'll keep you posted as to when that journey begins. And also, in terms of creating a plan, you can seek support. Sometimes it's not easy to understand or see how to create a plan. Like, what kind of plan? What should my goals be? How can I break it down into tiny steps? Some of this can feel very overwhelming, and having support to do that can be really helpful. I'm also going to leave a link in the description to have a free exploratory call with me. I do offer different types of coaching that can help guide you along the way. There's different levels and different versions, and I'd love to support you and be a support to you. And if that isn't where you want to go in terms of coaching, there may be books available to you, or therapy available, or a close friend, something that can support you to help sort out and process what you're going through so that you can take the manageable steps toward that healing that you're longing for. Self-healing is rarely done alone, but it is done from our own unique inner wisdom and awareness. I'd love to hear in the comments any experiences of the journey that you've had. Please be sure to like and subscribe if this has been helpful to you, and share it with others. Let me know what you're thinking, and ask any questions that you have, because I love responding to your questions and being able to offer my perspective. I look forward to seeing you in the next video.